Good evening, folks. Welcome to the chat on doing another podcast. Enjoyed the podcast last night. Obviously, a bit of a whirlwind one, but done a bit of homework on this striker over the last 24 hours, and you know what? I'm gonna give my honest opinion about it. I jumped the gun last night. I was a bit angry. I was calling him everything under the sun, calling him a flop and all that. But at the end of the day, this guy hasn't even put a short on for Celtic, and his record at Sparta Prague is pretty impressive. So we'll dig deeper into Tomas Cvancara. And Martin O'Neill was asked today about him, and Martin O'Neill said that he's not he's not a John Hartson type of striker or a Chris Hutton type of striker. He wants to prove himself at Celtic. And then the reports come from Jeremy today that if we're going to buy him in the summer, it's going to cost us £6.8 million. So it looks pretty decent, to be honest. I know I was completely the opposite last night, moaning about him, saying like he's 55 games, 8 goals. But when I looked at his best bits for Sparta Prague, thought he was outstanding for Sparta Prague, especially in the city derbies against Slavia Prague. Thought he was really impressive. So we're going to dig into a couple of players tonight. We're going to talk about the game as well over in Italy tomorrow. Big game, 6:15 kickoff, Celtic Park time against Bologna. We do need more players. Martin O'Neill said, look, if we can try get more players in before the end of the window, it would be great. But it's going to be a hard one. It's going to be a hard one. We have a bit of time to get business done. But this guy will not feature tomorrow because you can't register players for match day 7 and match day 8 in the Europa League. So probably be fresh. Injury issues, hardly scores, hot-headed. Yeah, it's just the sort of guy we need. Look, I was like that attitude last night about this guy. But you know what? It's a new chapter for him. Let's not write this guy off. What if he used to start the game on Sunday and scores the winner? You know, hardly a hothead. He hasn't been really. Let's look at his records. Red cards. He's never been sent. Wait, hold on. In this season, he wasn't sent off. 1 yellow this season, and people are talking about hotheads. Let's see. Can we go back a previous season? Bundesliga. Doesn't look like much there. But look, stop doubting him. Stop doubting him. You know, I would say is give the guy a chance. I was completely against it last night. I thought it was a typical cheap board antics. But when the more I look into it, he reminds me of Dzeko a bit. He does remind me of Edin Dzeko. Obviously, Edin Dzeko is Bosnian, but this guy's from the Czech Republic. So 8 caps for his country, 2 goals, and then scoring before the end of the window. We could be out of the league. We could be out of title race. Could be out of title race by Saturday, and that's not his fault. If he misses a sit or not, on Sunday, I mean, if he misses a sitter on Sunday, you don't blame it just on that player. You blame it on the collective of the team that haven't performed under different managers this season. The mess that the board have put the team in. And if we're out of it, we're out of it. Simple. It's our own doing because we weren't at the standards. We didn't play to the level that we could be. You know, he played our position, then the Turkish team refused to pay him. Yeah, because he hasn't played since the 8th of December. And some people are still looking at all the red flags. Don't be looking at the red flags because there's potential with this guy. He's pretty good in the air, pretty skillful, and he does have pace for a tall guy as well. 9 million quid to German football. Surely he isn't that bad. Surely he isn't that bad. And I'd recommend if you haven't seen his best clips. Yeah, it was 2.5 years ago when he was playing for Sparta Prague. He was on fire in that Czech league. And people can't disrespect Czech league because Czech league would be probably up to the same standards as the Scottish league. You got your Slavia Prague, you got your Victoria Pilsen, your Sparta Prague as well. Some decent teams in that Czech league, you know. Bring Fofana in from Chelsea. Look at we were meant to get Fofana in the summer, and that deal collapsed. Fofana's not going to come to Celtic. We are looking at a guy from Crystal Palace, a winger, Rax Guy, 23-year-old winger that would preferably plays in the right wing. They've recalled him back from Turkish football, and they're willing to listen to offers from him as well. He's only played 8 games for Crystal Palace, but he played on loan at Sheffield United last season, and he scored 8 goals for them as well. Not a bad player. Played for Charlton as well on loan, done well for Charlton. Henrik only scored 30 goals in 129 appearances for Feyenoord. Look at previous players, previous stints at different clubs. I know what you're trying to say, Mark. I appreciate it. It doesn't really matter. What matters is everything's put to the past once you put that shirt on. You're in a new club. You're in a new environment. You're under a new manager. Yes, he's only going to be working with Martin O'Neill for probably till the end of the season, unless something magical happens and Martin O'Neill decides he's going to stay on, which he's not going to stay on. It'd be different. But I think looking at it last night, I was angry. I was annoyed. I was frustrated at it because I just thought like we were scraping the barrel. But realistically, do you give the guy a chance? All I can say is give the guy a chance. It can't be as bad as Shinamada. It can't be as bad as Johnny Kenny. Johnny Kenny scores the other night and people are fucking celebrating like it's a big goal. A big goal against Auchinleck Talbot. I'm sorry. No, that's his job to score goals for Celtic, but he hasn't done enough of it this season. And we're bringing someone in that's going to compete against these strikers to put them on their toes. That's what we need. And let's be honest, we need to strengthen as well. I don't know if there's already I don't know if everyone's busy tonight watching the football or other podcasts on. It doesn't really matter, to be honest with you. I'm just happy to pop on for about half an hour, 40 minutes. You know, if he scores, the fans will back him. Exactly. As I said the other night ago, I might be eating my words if this guy scores the winner, but his record over the last 2.5 years isn't great. But you have to give him the benefit of the doubt because he probably wasn't settled at Borussia Mönchengladbach. He came off the bench 25 times. He's time at Borussia Mönchengladbach. So give him a bit of time. See what happens. He'll smash it. So that's what Joe's saying. Hopefully, Joe. Hopefully we'll start looking at a centre midfielder as well when we're in the transfer window. Obviously, I talked about Jamie Lawrence last night, who plays in the Bundesliga. The 22-year-old centre back, 6'7". Hopefully, we can make an actual bid for this guy as well. He's played 17 times in the Bundesliga this season. Maybe we get him. I've been watching. I was watching a couple of podcasts today, and a few people mentioned Andy Robertson, the Celtic. Now, I'm waiting for this video to upload onto the YouTube channel. Andy Robertson's 32 in March. Now he potentially could be a free agent in the summer. He's in talks with Liverpool at the moment to sign on a new deal, but it's kind of stalled. And what I mean stalled is he was asked by the media, does he want to stay at Liverpool? He said yes, but obviously it's down to the contract. It's down to contract terms. Reportedly he's on 160 grand a week at Liverpool. If he was to come to Liverpool or come to Celtic, sorry, um, you'd have to you'd have to drop that salary massively, probably down to 25,000 to 30,000. Yes, we have a left back, and we putting all a lot of our wage bill into a left back position. It's a bit crazy. Robbo, phenomenal captain. You know, captain of Scotland, vice captain of Liverpool, good player, very decorated. Yeah, Lawrence is 6'7", 6'7". That guy, Jamie Lawrence. But we should be going in for him. Really should be going in for him. Should be going in for Master Elise as well off Motherwell. But why are we going for someone? Why are we inquiring about someone for Crystal Palace? Yes, he looks like a promising talent. Why you can get someone in your league that could be half the price. That's actually bagging goals in. Bagging goals in. 15 goals for Master Elise. But I think what I think is gonna happen is I think we're gonna be inquiring about players as we should be over the next couple of days. And then when it comes down to the last couple of days in the window, they get players in. I understand Green said on the comments we could be able to title race then. What's the point? Should be getting players in quick and fast, but it doesn't always work like that in football. As much as we're losing our patience as fans, it can be difficult. It can be difficult. And Martin Neal was asked, to get Celtic back to that level. Obviously, the Scottish football needs an injection of money. It's hard to compete against English money, English Premier League money. But let's see what happens. Look, a lot of us, I wouldn't say feel disconnected with Celtic. A lot of us feel very disappointed this season in the shape of you go into this campaign expecting, maybe this could be a special season with Brendan's final season, and that wasn't meant to be the case. Brendan got the sack, and Martin came in, as we know, and then Nancy came in, then Martin back again. Players are going to feel unsettled. And that's to be honest with you might think that's an excuse, but it's the God honest truth. You're going to feel unsettled. If you're in a job and you change the managers every couple of months, different people will have different work methods. And Martin, obviously, I know Sean Maloney and Fozzie are doing a lot of the gritty work on the training ground and getting the coaches are doing the work. Speaking of coaches, we have appointed a goalkeeper coach for the B team and the younger sides, Michael McGovern, that used to play for Celtic. So Michael McGovern's at the join the club again on a coaching basis. Stevie Woods will still be the first team goalkeeping coach. If someone is daft enough to give us our money back from Engels, then take it. Exactly. If even if we get 10 million for Arne Engels, we could do well. Like, what age is Arne Engels now? Is he 25? Let me see. Have a look. Arne Engels. 22. 22. Jeez, what am I saying 25 for? What am I getting confused there? For some reason, I thought he was older because he's been established around the Ulfsberg team for so long as well. And then he came to Celtic. Look, his stats haven't been comprehensive at all. Look at 85 games, 14 goals for Celtic. A good chunk of them were penalties as well. I know it hits the back of the net. 4 yellow cards. Good disciplined player. It just hasn't been great this season. He was good against Dundee United. Falkirk 7.9. We're absolutely rubbish in that game. Livy 8.1. We were brutal in that game. He's good against Aberdeen, but I would take if the money comes in from, let him go. Let him go. It means it probably gives Bernardo a chance to get in there and try and make a statement for himself. Would I sell Ingles? Yes, I think I would sell Ingles if the money is right. Look, he's been capped for Belgium as well. It's just he's not like, I understand you brought him in to replace Matt O'Reilly, but he hasn't been even near the levels that some fans would want. And I mean, like, a guy that's the guy that's proven, like, he wasn't half bad in his first half of the season, in his fourth season, but I just think he's just not at the level. And no disrespect to the guy, I just don't think he's at that caliber. And I think if Emil comes in from Red Bull, Leipzig in Germany, you got to listen to offers. I think there'd be a surprising departures in deadline day. To be honest, which is, I know we can't really afford to be letting players go because the core of our squad isn't isn't the most impressive. To be honest, because a lot of them are just not at the level, or a lot of them have drowned the tails. And then obviously we have an injury list there as well. Um, what do you think of Jess Lingard rumors? I haven't even heard anything about Jess Lingard. Where's this coming from? Is he not playing in South Korea? Jess Lingard. The last time I heard about him, Jess Lingard. Let's have a look. Jess Lingard. I've seen all the rumors of Deli Ali might be going to Bohemians. No, I haven't seen nothing about Jess Lingard. Nothing at all. Even X. There's nothing. There's nothing out there. Who would you? Who do you think we should sell in this window? I'll keep Yang until January. Or not till January, till the summer. In this window, Ralston, um, Shinamada. I can't believe I'm saying this because I wanted this guy to come to the club, but I'm gonna say Luke McCown. I just don't think he's recovered. Now, get me wrong. He come, I just don't know about Luke McCown. I just feel like he's not at the level as well. Love to go to bits, but he was cracking at Dundee. Wasn't bad when he came into Celtic, but I just don't think he's at that level. Um, I sound crazy when I say this. Maybe in the next window, Callum McGregor. I'll be looking at maybe, you know, cutting Callum McGregor's time or selling him off. Sounds a bit crazy, but I know. If you think Engels is in class, it's madness. He's been playing in midfield with an agent Callum Mack and the Tate that's not interested. Look, I'll be honest, it's my opinion, Rob. I don't think he's the answer. I just don't think he's the answer. I think it's time we move him on and maybe look at another midfielder, bringing fresh players in. You know, I'd probably be honest with you, I'd probably replace him with Elliot Watt from Motherwell. I think he's been more established in the league over the last couple of years. It looks like there's a bit of fight, but at the same time, some players when they come to Celtic, they just fold or they just don't play at the level. I just don't think he's been class. As I said, we've seen a handful of performances from where he has looked the part, but you you define his Celtic career, probably give it a rating of 6 out of 10, to be honest. Well, we're all toys of our opinion. I want to know what you think, you know. Um I know we feel like we're very self opinionated because we're looking from the outside, and I might take up something different from a game that you would take up from a game. I might see something different from a player's performance that you would. But you know, I just don't think he's the answer in our midfield departments. You know, I know Bernardo was absolutely minced the other night against Auchinleck Talbot, but I think Bernardo, what I've seen of him on that loan stint at Celtic, I think there's a better player than Bernardo than there is in Ingles. You know, and as I said, I would completely go for that guy, Elliot Watt. Looking at him, I think he just looks like an engine. He looks like a player, and you've seen the damage he caused against us at Fair Park. Need more pace and toughness in midfield, 100%. I just feel like I just feel like we're just like McGregor's trying. but McGregor goes quiet at games as well. And like, this is the problem what a lot of people are saying. Like, why can we play so well in the first half and then the second half we can finish teams off? Is it a drop of tempo? Is it, am I pushing too much in the first half of games and the second half are just like well off it? It is a concerning point, to be honest, which is look at the Rangers game. The Rangers game is a prime example where we were excellent in the first 30 minutes and then the second half we were absolutely brutal. Gaddafi says we need a hard B in defence. 100%. And I think that guy, Jamie Lawrence, he looks like a bit of a unit. It's very hard to get that type of player these days where, they're right in their face. They're giving the strikers shit because they pick up everything in football in the cameras. They get booked too easy. Not like the old days you get away with at certain points. I've watched his positions he takes up and touches his technique of the ball. Engels needs better players around him. Well, that is a point, but Cal Mack is done as in playing three games a week. 100%. Callum McGregor is overused. Well overused. And this is what I'm trying to say. I think it's concerning that you think it's the truth that Callum McGregor is done, but at the same time, you're saying to yourself, right, if McGregor was to move on this summer, just say he goes to Saudi Arabia and joins Brendan Rodgers, who's the answer for the captaincy? There's not a lot of players bar Johnston, you know. There's not there's no one really you could call a captain on that team. Scales at times he looked a bit leadership, but Scales get exposed as well at times. Um, Very concerning. A team that's meant to be the champions of the league, they don't have a lot of leaders. Tierney, Tierney step up and be a captain, but the same problem. He could have been a captain if he stayed when before he went to Arsenal. If he stayed on long term, he would have probably been the captain. But we just we really, really and then I know we're being linked with Nico Segura for the Canadian right back who could play centre back and defensive midfield. There's talks of we can get him in the summer. I would sell Maeda and Atate and reinvest the money. Yeah, I think I do the same as well. I love Maeda. I just think Atate's done. Atate is all news. Atate is checked out. Maeda is looking at Maeda is looking halfway out the balcony. He wants to be gone, to be honest. And we're grateful for his service at Celtic, but move on. McCown, look, don't get me wrong. I just don't know. Like maybe McCown needs that bit of responsibility to step up. But I think he's been well off it the last 3 or 4 months compared to he was in his first season. I thought he's done all right this first season when he was called upon. Taylor was the captain on the waiting, but then they let him go for 5 grand a week. It's just shocking, isn't it? Shocking. Absolutely shocking because Taylor, to be honest with you, you knew that he was a grafter. Yes, he wasn't the most exciting going forwards, but he could do a job. He could do a job. And I thought Taylor's best season was the season when we won the treble. Thought he was absolutely brilliant that season. But you could just see that he was getting exposed at times as well. And he wasn't getting the cover on that wing. But Taylor, he's over in Greece, not Greece, Cyprus. Oh, there's no Greece. He's over in Greece, sorry. He's over in Pauk. And he's doing all right. Like he's playing games and stuff like that. But he's in the same team as Giacomakis. He's doing all right there. But how are we feeling about the game tomorrow? I'm gonna give you the starting lineup for tomorrow as well. Be honest, I wouldn't be too raging if you get beaten tomorrow. I'd be delighted if you win. But the bread and butter is the league. And Ralston actually, there's been no problem with Anthony Ralston as well. He's in contention for tomorrow as well. Obviously, there was talks of passport issues and stuff like that. So I'm just gonna put my starting lineup on the screen. Look at Champions League football's on tonight. A lot of people are probably busy watching that. There's podcasts on at the same time. I appreciate the 15 years watching. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. So obviously he's going to go with Michael tomorrow. He's not going to change it with Salo. I would start Donovan over Ralph. He's probably going to go with Ralph because of experience in Europe. So Kobe Donovan. Trusty. Scales. Just remember the last time Liam Scales and Austin Trusty played in Italy. He got a clean sheet over in Atalanta. Just remember that. Tierney. Try if we can push that formation back, it'd be Carl, obviously, in that defensive role. McGregor. We'll go with Negrin. Engels ahead of Atate. Doesn't matter where to put them. They're going to play in midfield anyway. Yang. Tuneki. And then Maeda. I'm sorry, Johnny Kenny. You may scored against Auchinleague Talbot, but this is Bologna. And look, at Bologna have a good side. Obviously, Lewis Ferguson plays for them. He's been unbelievable since he joined that club. They're 8th in Serie A at the moment as well. In the Europa League table, they're pushing to obviously finish in the top 8 as well. We are 24th in the Europa League on 7 points. And really, look, the Europa League, to me, it's not the end of the world if you get knocked out. It'll actually probably do us a favour, to be honest, getting knocked out. Martin O'Neill presser. Did I look too good? I like Yang. Let's see. We'll end up signing Johnny Kenny. We ended signing Johnny Kenny by mistake. It was a Dundalk striker, Connie Jenny. We should have signed a draw, possibly. Bologna ain't doing well at Serie A at the moment. They're 8th in Serie A at the moment. Let me look at the table. Serie A. I think it was like domestic football goes out the window when you're playing in Europe. To be honest, look at Spurs. Spurs are a prime example. Bodo Glimt, they're working wonders. Newton yet again beating Man City. Why are we not going for Newton? Is ridiculous. We should be putting a query in for Newton in the summer. It's an absolute shambles. Now I don't know when the Norwegian league starts. I think the Norwegian league starts actually in March or February. But there's the Serie A. They're not doing well yet. They've only won 1 game in 5 in domestic football, but crazy stuff. Let's have a look at the players. Now, to be honest with you, I haven't done the homework on these players. See who they have. Immobile plays for them. He scored a couple of goals against us in the Champions League when he played at Lazio, if I'm correct. Lewis Ferguson, Santiago Castro, I know him. I know this guy. Jens Odegaard, is he related to Odegaard that plays for Arsenal? Don't really know any of the rest of them, to be honest. Benjamin Dominguez, and obviously Lewis Ferguson. He's done well for them. The captain. It's good to see Scottish players do well over in Serie A. Look at McTominay, Gilmore. Where's Liam Henderson these days? Is he still playing football? Liam Henderson. Ewan Henderson still over in Sampdoria. Liam Henderson. What's he getting on over in? 19 games. Serie B. What age is he now? 29 years of age. Fair dues to him. Oh, Liam Henderson. A blast from the past. Remember he scored in Fair Hill when we won the league? Ewan Henderson. Wickham Wanderers. Oh, Jesus Christ. Playing at Wickham. 16 games. Did he not go to Italy? I thought he was going to go to Italy. No. He went to... It was that Austria. Celtic Austria, Beer Scott. Where did they play? Belgium. Apologies. But yeah, crazy. Let's look at the comments. I hope you're all doing well. The Motherwell winger, from what I've heard, there is a two deals being worked on by the board, and one of the players is Scottish based. Hopefully, it's Tawanda from Motherwell. Really want them. Really, really want them. To be honest, Rap. Hope you're doing well, Rap. I know I've said that earlier. The setup at Bola Glint is perfect for Newton. He'll come here to a shitty setup and just to be another Ronnie Toilet. It's a bold statement. It could be. The thing is, you need guarantees off that board where you're going where you're going with the club. You need a vision, because I'm telling you, some of them candidates that they were interviewing in the process to replace Brendan Rodgers, I don't believe they actually were interviewing many candidates. I think Tisdale just went out with Nancy. We all knew where that went. Yeah. But the Zimbabwe guy, I really want him. Really, really want him. I'm doing good, mate. Good to hear. Can't believe how bad we are being run, especially with Rangers getting their act together. How are you getting on, Aaron? I hope you're well. Look, we're not surprised that we're being being run by absolute gobshites that they cared about the bank statements, and the bank are not keeping the money in the bank than actually putting out there. There's no vision. As I said to me mate earlier on, if they could just come out and tell the fans what's the plans for the next 2-3 years, tell the fans why we're not spending the money. If they come out and say, right, we're looking at potentially expanding the stadium. This is why we're not really spending the type of money that we would like to spend on the first team. You can understand. You can understand. But they're not. They're not doing that. They're literally holding the money for ransom because they're waiting for this rainy day. They keep blaming the landscape of Scottish football. They keep blaming the landscape of what we're going against in England and stuff. But yeah, Che Evans is over in Italy. Does he play for over in Italy again? Is he Sampdoria as well? I wouldn't go near Che Evans, to be honest. I don't think he'd be good enough for Celtic. Like, he was all right at Southampton, but Che Adams, sorry, not Che Evans. Che Adams. Why am I saying Che Evans? I say Landon Dyke's got a move to. That's still Ferguson. Why am I? Che Adams. Torino. Why am I getting confused there? I thought he was at Torino's not a bad club. That's where Joe Hart went. Joe Hart was at Torino for the season. Chairman, director of football, manager, head of skill and youth development have all gone in the last 6 months. There is changes going on in the background. It's just being done on the quiet, Dermot Desmond style. Well, look, why is Michael Nicholson still holding his job? Obviously Peter Lawwell, he left the club at the end of last month, and obviously Brian Wilson is in on an interim basis. You see the head of scouting's left as well, and youth development. It's crazy times being a Celtic fan, and I know that we look at how bad it's been ran, because it does affect the team, affects the fans, affects revenues. Like, look at a lot of fans have boycotted the merchandise, boycott buying food at the games because they just feel like they're being fleeced, and I don't blame them feeling like that. I love the club, but I'm not going to go out of my way and pay 35 quid for a ticket while we're playing like this. Even though Martin O'Neill's back, I just feel like this season has not been exciting at all. I remember going to the game at Hampden, and I was dreading the game all week. All week. Now, I got a ticket the last minute to the game, but the point is, we're not the team that we once were. These like teams would dread playing Celtic. Celtic now are very predictable to play against. Regardless, Martin's back in, and look, we're all delighted. We have a fantastic manager in, sailing the ship for the time being. We are grateful, but it's the squad. It's the lack of hunger, the lack of intensity, the lack of drive from some of these individuals that are on that pitch. Embarrassing that St. Mirren haven't won. They took three off us. It's the worst. Like, it is probably the worst Celtic team I would say in history. And like, I know people say, "Oh, well, that's a bit over exaggerating," but back in the day, they didn't really have money to be spending on players like in the 20s and the 30s and all that stuff. Now it's kind of local talent or players within the country or down in England are not far across the sea. This is a bit. I think it's down to poor recruitment as well. It's down to giving players 5-year deals that are checked out, and they're in that 5-year deal, and then within about a year and a half they've checked out and they're not asked. Atate, how much do you think Atate's worth, folks? Be honest. How much do you think how much do you think Rio Atate's worth? I would say probably pushing most 6 million. 6 million. Oh, take care of yourself, Mark. Hope you're well. Liam Brady's team will pump us. At least we had Paul McStay in that team. You gotta get some decent players in that team. You know, Lee. As much as people criticize John Barnes' team and Liam Brady's team and Tony Mobley's team, some of the players actually didn't give up. Half these players have given up a long time. You're quite informative. Taxi driver Rab. Oh, Rab's on it. If that's Rab that was in my job a couple of weeks ago, I wouldn't be surprised. I did meet a guy who came into me the workplace I work, and he was telling me that he's he's a how would you call it, one of them chauffeur drivers for former players and people that are related to Celtic. And he was telling me a lot of little bits and bobs, but you know what? He agreed on the board. He was saying the board is an absolute state. Mate, if you watch what they said in the last 2 years on YouTube, you know formally what my person is bang on 95% of the time. They spent the same shite. Spent the same shite. Tap each other on the back, saying, "Well done on going into this AGM. Well done on revenues. Well done on short sales. Well done on this." It's all the same. You know. Yeah, Tony's Mowbray's team depressed the life out of me, especially when we got beaten by St. Mirren 4-0. I just knew when we got Tony Mowbray in for Gordon Strachan. And I know Mowbray obviously played with the club, but I just knew he wasn't going to be Celtic fit. And I know he done all right at West Brom and Hibs and stuff like that. Just wasn't nowhere near the level. I thought should have kept it to and I go back and I look at Ronnie Doyle. At the time when we got Ronnie Doyle, I was kind of like, why did we not give it to Jackie McNamara? Jackie McNamara done well at Dundee United. I would have been delighted if we got Jackie McNamara in at the time. But instead we went with Ronnie Doyle. Um, Crazy. Absolutely. Look, at Ronnie won us 2 titles. He got robbed of a treble as well against Inverness. We all can't forget that game. But my predictions for the game tomorrow, I think the best will be 1-1. But I think I'll be brutally honest, which is now Bologna is not doing great. I just think we're going over. We defend well. I just don't want us running ourselves into the ground because that will pay a price against a Tynecastle on Sunday. The game on Sunday, as we all know, is the biggest game. The biggest game of the season. The biggest game. On Sunday night, I said on Baz's channel about Ross Desmond being in Glasgow for a meeting. Boom, next day Nancy was gone. Look, had a feeling Nancy was gonna go. If he's kept his job after that derby, it would have been ridiculous. And he knew with a home game brewing against Dundee United the fans weren't going to have it. The fans would have boycotted the game, to be honest. But it's good that you have good sources in there as well. Wilf Nancy, he'll never manage in Europe again. I could see him going back to the MLS. I got myself a Columbus Crew jersey, but I won't wear it because I feel like he's ruined it for me. He's ruined it for me. Sure is, my boy. Sure is. 1414. I don't know what that means, but kill on YouTube. So, folks, I'm gonna leave it there tonight. I'm not fully energetic. I'm just feeling a bit down the weather with the sniffles and stuff. So I'll get back on tomorrow night before the game. Just do a preview before the game, start and line up, and then I'll get on a full time. Hopefully we'll have the confirmation of Tomas Cvancara from Borussia Mönchengladbach over the next 24 hours. Loan move, an option to buy in the end of the season. As I said, see what happens. Get a Guinness will heal you, man. Oh, definitely not. No, can't be arsed for drink. Cannot be arsed, honestly. One of the best stuff you can possibly ask for. Water. So I'll be back on tomorrow night. Do subscribe to the channel. I'll speak to you soon. Apologise it wasn't the most exciting pod, but consistency is better than nothing, So I'll speak to you all soon. Paddy, I'm sorry for letting you down, but I gotta go. Gotta go to bed, heal up. I'll be back to you tomorrow night. Hell.